She thought she was safe. A hidden life, a secret child, all to escape the most dangerous man she knew. But what happens when the very mafia boss she's been hiding from, the father of her child, finally finds them? This is a heart-topping story where one family's secret could cost them everything. The scar on Amara Okafor's left shoulder blade burned whenever it rained. Not the actual scar the doctors had told her, but the memory of it. Phantom pain from the night she'd pressed herself against a dumpster in Itaewon. 3 months pregnant and terrified while gunfire tore through the alley behind her. The night she'd realized what loving Jae-won actually meant. What it would cost. That was 3 years ago. Now she lived in Busan's industrial district where nobody asked questions. Where a Nigerian woman with a Korean son was just another face in the endless parade of foreign workers and forgotten families. Her hands moved automatically through the morning routine, braiding No's hair into tight cornrows while he squirmed and whined in Igbo. "Mama, it hurts. Now stay still. No. Almost done." His eyes met hers in the cracked mirror propped against the wall. Jae-won's eyes, that same unsettling intensity that had first drawn her in at a Gangnam nightclub 4 years ago when she'd been young and stupid and working 3 jobs to send money home to Lagos. Those eyes had looked at her like she was the only real thing in a room full of ghosts. She believed it. God help her. She believed every lie those eyes had told. Noah had his father's sharp jawline too. The way his mouth turned down when he concentrated. Sometimes Amara caught herself staring at her son and feeling nothing but rage at the ghost who'd planted himself so permanently in their lives. Mama parked today. No's Korean was getting better than his English, better than her Igbo. He was forgetting where he came from and she didn't know if that was survival or erasure. Maybe, she tied off the last braid. If it doesn't rain. It was already raining. The convenience store where she worked smelled like stale tea and mop water. The owner, Mrs. Kim, let her bring Noah during the day shift, mostly because nobody else would take the job for such terrible pay. Noah sat in the corner with his tablet, headphones on, while Amara restocked shelves and tried not to think about the life she'd left behind. The life, not him, never him. Thinking about Jae-won was like touching a hot stove. Pain that served no purpose except to remind you of your own stupidity. By 2 p.m., the rain had stopped and Noah was climbing the walls with boredom. "Park, Mama, please. You promised." She hadn't promised, but his face, so much like his father's, but untouched by violence, broke something in her chest. 30 minutes, that's all. Hyundai Beach Park on a Wednesday afternoon was a study in ordinary life. Mothers pushed strollers. Old men played baduk beneath the pavilion. Children screamed with the kind of joy that came from not knowing monsters were real. Amara found their usual bench, the one with a clear view of all exits, and watched Noah sprint toward the swings. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She deleted it without looking. 3 years of unknown numbers had taught her that ghosts only had power if you answered. She was watching a seagull fight over a dropped kimbap when the air changed. Not physically, nothing so obvious. But Amara had learned to read danger the way sailors read storms. Some deep animal instinct that prickled the back of her neck and turned her mouth to sand. Her eyes swept the park, cataloging faces, looking for the thing that didn't fit. There by the fountain, a man in a black suit, too formal for a Wednesday afternoon in a neighborhood park. Phone to his ear. Eyes scanning the playground with the systematic precision of someone conducting surveillance. Not just someone. Tae Jin, Jae-won's head enforcer. The man with the scar down his left cheek that he'd earned in Busan 3 years ago, the same night Amara had earned hers. Her body went cold and liquid at the same time. 3 years. 3 years of being invisible, being careful, being nobody. And Tae Jin was standing 50 meters away. His eyes moving across the children on the playground like a predator selecting prey. "Mama, Mama, watch this." No's voice cut through the park noise like a knife through silk. Tae Jin's head snapped toward the sound. Amara watched his face do the math. Watched recognition bloom and then sharpen into certainty. Their eyes met across the space. Tae Jin's hand moved to his phone. Amara was already moving. "Noah, Now, we're leaving. But mama. Now. She grabbed his hand hard enough to hurt, hauling him off the swing. He started to cry. She didn't care. Every second was a second too long. The back exit was 30 meters away. If she could reach it before. The black sedan pulled up, blocking her path. The door opened like a mouth. Jae-won stepped out and Amara forgot how to breathe. 3 years had sharpened him, made him leaner, harder, edges honed to something that could cut through bone. He wore a charcoal suit that probably cost more than her yearly rent. But it was his face that stopped her cold. The same face she'd traced in the dark. The same mouth that had whispered promises in broken English. The same eyes that had watched her sleep like she was something precious. Those eyes found Noah and went absolutely still. Time collapsed. Amara saw him see it. Saw the math happen behind those calculating eyes. Saw shock give way to disbelief. Give way to something worse than anger. Something cold and final and absolutely certain. No. The word fell out of her mouth. No, Jae-won, please. How old? His voice hadn't changed. Still that low rasp that felt like gravel and silk. Tell me how old he is. Noah pressed against her leg, small hands fisting in her dress. Mama, who is that man? Jae-won's eyes cut to Noah's face, and something cracked behind the mask. Amara watched him take in every detail. The eyes, the jawline, the way Noah tilted his head exactly like his father did when something confused him. 3. Amara's voice came from somewhere far away. He's 3. The silence that followed was the kind that preceded explosions. Tae Jin and 3 other men had materialized around them, forming a loose perimeter that made running impossible. People were being quietly redirected. The park was emptying like someone had pulled a drain plug. You were pregnant. Jae-won's voice was so quiet it was almost gentle. Almost. That night when you ran you were carrying my child. Not a question. An accusation. A verdict. I had to. You had to what? Now the rage came, finally breaking through that terrible calm. You had to steal my son. You had to let me think you were dead. I searched for you, Amara. Do you understand that? I tore this city apart looking for you. I thought someone had taken you, killed you. He stopped, jaw working. I mourned you. Your world killed someone that night. The words ripped out of her. I watched a man die in that alley while you stood over him. And I was pregnant. And I knew, Jae-won. I knew I couldn't raise a child in your world. So you ran, took my son, hid him from me for 3 years. He took a step closer. Amara forced herself not to flinch. Did you even think about telling me? Every day. The admission burned. Every single day I looked at his face and saw yours and hated you for it. Noah started crying, the sound high and frightened. Mama, I want to go home. Jae-won looked at his son. Really looked at him. And Amara watched something in him fracture. He doesn't know me. The words came out broken. My son doesn't even know who I am. He's safe. Amara pulled Noah closer. That's all that matters. Safe. Jae-won's laugh was ugly. You think you're safe here in this neighborhood working at a convenience store for nothing. How long before one of my rivals found you instead, Amara? How long before someone realized who he was and used him against me? The words landed like physical blows because they were true. I didn't want this life for him. You think I did? Something raw crossed his face. You think I wanted my son to grow up in my world? But he exists, Amara. Our son exists. And the only question now is whether we protect him together or whether I do it alone. You can't take him from me. I can. Simple. Factual. Terrifying. I can take him right now and you'll never see him again. Or, he paused. Or you both come with me now and we figure this out like adults instead of children playing hide and seek. No's crying had escalated to sobbing. Amara felt her own tears burning behind her eyes but refused to let them fall. If I refuse, you won't. He glanced at Tae Jin. Get their things. Everything. We leave in 10 minutes. Jae-won. 10 minutes, Amara. Or I take him now and you never see him again. Choose. It wasn't a choice. It had never been a choice. She nodded once, feeling something inside her break clean in half. The drive to his penthouse was silence and nose hiccuping sobs. Amara held him tight, whispering reassurances in Igbo that felt like lies. Mama's here. Everything's okay. Nothing was okay. Nothing would ever be okay again. Jae-won's penthouse occupied the top floor of a building so expensive even the elevator had security clearance. Floor-to-ceiling windows. Minimalist furniture. Everything cold and beautiful and absolutely empty of warmth. This was where he lived. This glass tower. This expensive cage. Guest rooms through there. He pointed down a hallway. It's yours. Both of you. Get him settled. We talk in 1 hour. It wasn't a request. The guest room was bigger than her entire apartment. Noah clung to her, exhausted from crying, confused and frightened, and too young to understand that their lives had just been torn apart and reconstructed into something unrecognizable. Mama, I don't like it here. I know, baby. I know. She kissed his forehead. But we're safe. Okay, we're safe. Another lie. When the knock came exactly 1 hour later, Amara's hands were shaking so badly she had to clasp them together. Noah had finally fallen asleep, exhausted and tear-stained. She slipped out into the hallway where Jae-won waited. He'd changed into jeans and a black t-shirt. Without the armor of his suit, he looked younger, more like the man she'd fallen for, more dangerous because of it. His office was all dark wood and darker intentions. The moment the door closed, he turned on her. 3 years, Amara. You stole 3 years of my son's life from me. Explain. I was pregnant and terrified, and I watched you kill someone. He was trafficking children. The words came out flat, brutal. Girls, some as young as 8, bringing them across the border, selling them. That's who I killed that night. That's who you ran from me to protect. The ground shifted. You never told me that. You never asked. You saw blood and ran. He moved closer. I'm not a good man, Amara. I've never pretended to be. But I have lines. Children. Women who can't fight back. Those are my lines. And when someone crosses them in my territory, I handle it personally. She wanted to argue. Wanted to tell him that murder was murder. But she'd grown up in Lagos. She knew what monsters looked like. Knew that sometimes the only thing that could stop a monster was another monster. Why didn't you tell me? Because I wanted you to see me as human for once. His jaw tightened. Because for 6 months you made me feel like maybe I could be something other than this. And then you left and took that with you. I was pregnant, Jae-won. What was I supposed to do? Trust me. The words exploded out of him. You're supposed to trust me enough to tell me. To let me protect you. Instead you vanished and left me with nothing but questions and the kind of grief that. He stopped. You broke me, Amara. You broke me. And I didn't even know why. Would you have let me go if I'd told you? The silence was answer enough. This was always going to end badly, she said. Maybe. But we have a son now. That changes everything. He ran a hand through his hair. The gesture so familiar it hurt. I don't know how to be a father. I don't know how to be anything except what I am. But I know I can protect him. And I know I can't do it if you keep running. What do you want from me? I want you to stay. Both of you. I want to know my son. He paused. And I want to know if what we had was real or if I imagined all of it. The honesty in his voice was worse than any threat. And if I say no then you stay anyway, but as prisoners instead of guests. And our son grows up knowing his mother chose to be his father's enemy. He moved closer. Don't make me be the villain in his story, Amara. There are enough real villains out there already. She looked at him. This dangerous, complicated man who'd given her the best 6 months of her life and the worst 3 years. I need guarantees. You're not. Yes, I am. She met his eyes. You want us to stay willingly. You want your son to know you as a father. That only happens if I cooperate. So yes, I'm negotiating. Something that might have been respect flickered across his face. Name your terms. Noah doesn't know about your business until he's old enough to understand. He goes to a normal school. He has a normal life as much as possible. And if I ever think he's in danger because of you, I'm gone. And this time, Jae-won, you won't find us. He studied her for a long moment. You'll stay. He'll be protected. He'll have everything. He moved closer until she could smell his cologne, that familiar scent that made her chest ache. But understand this. You're not leaving again, ever. Whether you're here as my partner or my prisoner is up to you. It should have terrified her. Instead it settled over her like inevitability. Okay. His eyes closed briefly. Thank you. They stood there in the expensive silence, two people bound by a child and history and the strange gravity that had always existed between them. Amara didn't know if this was survival or surrender. Didn't know if she'd just saved her son or doomed them all. Jae-won's phone buzzed. He glanced at it and his entire body went rigid. What? Amara demanded. What is it? Han Seojin. He said the name like a curse. My rival. He's asking questions about a Nigerian woman and a mixed child. His eyes met hers. He knows, Amara. Someone told him about Noah. The world tilted. That's impossible. I have a leak. Someone in my organization has been feeding him information. His voice turned to ice. And now the most dangerous man in Seoul knows I have a son. Before she could respond, his phone rang. He answered, listened, and went absolutely still. How many? A pause. Lock everything down. Now. He ended the call and turned to her, and Amara saw genuine fear in his eyes for the first time. Someone just tried to breach building security. They were asking for you by name. He moved to the door. Stay here. Lock this door. Don't open it for anyone except me. Jae-won. They're already coming for him, Amara. His voice broke on the words. We're out of time. He left. And Amara stood alone in the expensive office. Listening to alarms begin to wail somewhere in the building, and realized with perfect terrible clarity that she hadn't saved Noah by staying. She had just made him the most valuable target in Seoul. In the guest room her son slept on, innocent and unaware that his father's world was about to swallow them whole. And somewhere in the city below, predators circled closer, drawn by blood in the water. The war had begun, and they were standing right in the center of it.